Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm a pregnancy coach who works with mamas all over the world, helping you go from anxious and overwhelmed to enjoying your pregnancy, having a sacred natural birth, and giving your baby the beautiful beginning that you dream of. Today, we're going to talk about what to do when you don't have a midwife or birth center near you, but you know that you want a natural birth. There are a couple of options that moms consider in this situation. One is to have an unassisted birth, where you have the baby at home, but you don't have anybody there with you who would be considered a pregnancy care provider. Another option, and the one that most moms in this situation choose, is to give birth to a baby at the hospital and kind of hope for the best. And well, sometimes neither of those options work out terribly well. So let's talk about today what are some things that you can do if you find yourself in that situation. Preparation is the big thing that matters. The truth is most of the moms that I have worked with over the 17 plus years that I've been doing this work as a birth supporter they are having a hospital birth. And many of those moms are able to have a beautiful experience at the hospital. Now, I could go and talk a lot about my feelings on hospitals and the politics of hospital birth and whether I think that that's an option that really is honoring moms and babies, because I don't think that it is. But I also think that it's a reality for a lot of moms. And I think that it's something that's worth talking about and worth figuring out, how do we have a good experience in that situation? Because that might be where you're at. For some moms, money is the issue. For other moms, their partner is the issue. And again, for some moms, location is the issue. For whatever reason, you may have decided that a hospital birth is best. And even if you decide, I want to have an unassisted birth, this advice can apply to you, because the real key is preparation. Preparation is so important, because when you're ready for a natural birth and when you're ready for everything that that birth brings, things are much more likely to go smoothly. Now, you may think, okay, Kristen, well, I watched some videos on what happens during birth. I even watched some births on YouTube, right? So I know what happens, and I read the baby book, and it said 3 stages of labor and 10 centimeters and all of that. So, I've got all that down. But that's definitely not the preparation that you need. I mean, you can do all of that, and those things are good. And it's good and important to know about what happens during labor physiologically to your body. And in fact, you should know even more than that. You should know the mechanics of birth. That's what I call that. You should also understand the hormones of birth. Those are all things that play into your birthing time. But what you want to know is how to keep yourself healthy during pregnancy so that you are able to stay low risk during pregnancy, so that you don't have pregnancy complications come and get in the way, and so that you're also strong and healthy and ready for your birthing time. Now, if you're planning on birthing your baby at the hospital, another really important thing to do is to understand induction. And I don't have time to go into it in this video, though I will do another that talks about it. But understand induction, and also understand that you have the right to say no to an induction. It can't be that they take your baby or that they won't let you stay pregnant anymore. It's your body, it's your baby, and you get to make that call. What they might do is use scare tactics and fear tactics to help you feel like, okay, well, I have to do what they say, because otherwise my baby and I are going to turn into big green boogeymen, right? And I make a little bit light of it, but the reality is that pressure can feel really great. So doing that research and understanding what the evidence says about that and what it says about going past 40 weeks and all of that right now is an important thing that can really help you to be able to have a natural birth, because an induction drastically and dramatically changes the way labor looks. Now, I do know some incredible mamas who have been able to have a natural birth even after an induction, but contractions caused by an induction are longer and stronger. They're not natural contractions, and they can be a lot harder to handle. So if a mom tells you, I was induced and I just couldn't handle it, honey, I was calling for the epidural, well, it's because those contractions weren't anywhere like natural birth. And contractions with a natural birth can be pretty intense too. I've had 8 babies, all of them naturally. Believe me, I get it. But they're nothing close to those contractions that are induced by a medication. So that's something to keep in mind, and something that's important to focus on. So preparation matters, and that will really help you knowing what you can do, what you can take into the hospital. I've done a video where I talked about how to make a natural birth more likely at the hospital, and I gave you tips, things like bringing in a birth ball. But those sorts of things will help you. And this is another tip that will help you no matter what you're choosing, hospital, unassisted, anything like that, is understand that often when it feels the hardest to handle and it's the most intense, that's when you're closest to the baby coming, because that's usually transition. And so if you have a toolbox of skills that you can use and things you know that you can try, position changes, being on the birth ball, breathing techniques, getting up and going to the bathroom, those sorts of things can all really help you to get through that intense time. And also remember that it can get the most intense at the end, and then it shifts to pushing contractions, and those often feel much better. Another tip, if you're feeling, this would be more for moms planning an unassisted birth, but if you're feeling like I need to push but you're not sure if you should be or not, a good thing that you can do is lie down on your left side, because that pulls baby off the cervix a little bit. And if you feel like you're having an urge to push before it's really time to push, it can help calm that down. And side lying, consequently, is also a great position to push your baby out in. So if it happens that you're pushing because baby is really coming, you're in a fine position to give birth as well. But those are some things to help you consider when you don't have a midwife or a birth center or your ideal birthing place around. Is a lot of preparation, or a little preparation or a lot of preparation, can go a long way to helping make that birth more likely. Another thing to consider is having a supportive model of care. Even if you can't have a midwife, having that personal attention, that continuity, that midwife's model of care, and that's what I offer for my coaching clients. Many of these mamas are in parts of the world or in regions of the country where they don't have a midwife and they can't have that care and they can't have that support, but they want somebody to talk to regularly. They want that evidence-based advice. They want that experience from decades of working with pregnant moms, and that's what I can do. So if you would like to hear about how I can help you, support you, diet plans, meal plans, birth plans, helping you get ready for birth, then definitely reach out. Head over to birthbabylife.com/beautiful, and I would love to chat with you this week on how I can help you give your baby a beautiful beginning.